So we all know that the financial situation in the United States is pretty bad, but I think one of the biggest recession indicators that I have seen is the influx of people donating plasma whenever I come and donate. I just got here and the entire parking lot is full. It's 4:30, the whole parking lot is full, and the extended parking lot, I'm probably the 5th or 6th car here.
Apparently, it's unrealistic to support yourself with one full-time job. So instead, it's become just work 3 jobs, live with 4 roommates just to stay afloat. Like, not to build anything, not to get ahead, like literally just to survive. And at that point, it's like, what exactly is the baseline even supposed to be anymore?
Truly a very lonely existence when you understand how fucked the system is and you really can't do anything. You still have to play into the system that is fucking you with no lube or spit or anything, and you really just have to just play into it because you don't really have another option. It is truly lonely. Okay, it is so lonely. And then people assume that you are trying to yourself, and it's like, no, I don't think that life has any purpose. And people get in your comments and like, oh, like you have family and friends, life is amazing. And it can be. The idea of life is amazing, okay? We have trees, we have nature, like all of that is beautiful, but the way that it's set up is not beautiful.
Cost of living is one of the most subtly evil phrases to ever enter our lexicon. The cost of living. The phrase is so normalized we don't even hear how dystopian it sounds anymore. It implies by default in our current system, nobody inherently deserves to live.
I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say that this inflation bullshit is getting out of fucking control, okay? Rent and home buying and all that is another fucking beast of its own. But going to a fucking Taco Bell and paying $30 for 2 people to eat is actually insane. And I'm not even ordering what I really, really want. I'm getting like maybe 3 items and a drink. And I'm talking one of those items aside, okay?
Hey YouTube, recently it feels like every time people go online, there's another conversation about how much harder normal life in America has become. From people struggling with everyday costs to working non-stop and still feeling like they're falling behind. In this video, we're breaking down clips from people discussing the economy, jobs, and the growing feeling that the path to a comfortable life has become much harder than people expected. Because underneath all these frustrations is a bigger question that many people are starting to ask. What happens when people are willing to put in the work, but the reward they're chasing keeps moving further away?
A lot of other generations that came before me, I'm only 29, I'm a Gen Zer. I was born in 97, I'm kind of right on the cusp. But if you go to like, say Tommy Bahama, if you want to go buy a linen shirt these days, $130. I make a decent living. That's 4 to 5 hours of my time just to buy a new shirt. If I wanted a new shirt off the rack, something nice, you know, treat myself. $130 for just a regular linen shirt. Like, the past 5 years, prices have just gone astronomically to the moon. Companies are just trying to, like, I have to go to estate sales to find clothes just because I cannot afford to buy them new. I would rather buy dead people's clothes than to go to an actual store to buy shit new. Like, that's the difference between now and, like, the Great Depression. The dollar was backed by gold back then.
Now, I know I am not the only one whose buffer money, like after you had budgeted all of your bills and expenses, that little money that you would have just hanging around in your bill account is starting to disappear. Have y'all noticed that? Like when you go to the grocery store, the normal groceries that you would get for you and your, like, okay, this is the number that I need. That shit is no longer the number. And then the money that you would budget for your gasoline, for your car, that's no longer the number. The amount that you would kind of like stay under for your light bill, that's no longer the number. Like, your buffer money is no longer existing.
Everybody keeps saying nobody wants to work anymore. No, the truth is, not everybody wants to spend their entire life working a 9 to 5. People aren't lazy. They're tired of missing birthdays because they had to clock in, tired of asking permission to take a vacation, tired of making somebody else rich while they're struggling to pay bills, tired of working 40, 50, 60 hours a week and still living paycheck to paycheck. Some people dream of owning their own businesses. Some want to create content. Some want to travel. Some want freedom. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? A 9 to 5 isn't the dream for everybody. For some people, it's just a starting point, okay? And the craziest part, y'all, the same people who laugh at your dreams will be the first ones asking how you did it when it finally works. So if you're building something after work, if you're staying up late chasing a goal, if you're betting on yourself, keep going. You don't hate work. You just want a life that belongs to you. Comment freedom if you're working on something bigger than your paycheck.
A lot of people think the biggest problem with the economy is just that things cost more. But there's another side of this that doesn't get talked about enough. People feel like they're losing their actual lives while trying to afford one. For a lot of people, the dream is no longer about being rich or living some extravagant lifestyle. It's simply having enough time and energy left over after work to enjoy things that make life feel meaningful. The frustrating part is that many people aren't even saying they hate working. They understand that work is necessary, and they understand that building a future requires effort. What they're frustrated with is the feeling that their entire week is spent recovering from work just so they could do it all over again. You'll hear people say they'll start enjoying life once they start making more money, once they get a better job, or once things finally calm down. But for many people, that moment keeps getting pushed further away. The vacation gets delayed, the hobbies get pushed aside, the time with friends and family becomes something they have to find time for instead of something naturally built into their lives. And that creates a weird feeling where people are technically working towards a better future, but they feel like they're missing the present. Time is different from money because once it's gone, there's no way to earn it back. That's why this conversation has become so emotional for so many people. They aren't just worried about their bank accounts, they're worried about whether they're actually getting the chance to experience life outside of paying bills and meeting responsibilities. A lot of people were taught that working hard was supposed to give them more freedom, but when work starts taking away the freedom it was supposed to create, people naturally start questioning whether something has gone wrong. And that's why this issue goes deeper than prices or salaries. It's about people feeling like they're sacrificing years of their lives just to reach a level of stability that feels further away every year.
Tough pill to swallow is having a long, hard day at work. You get off and you have to fill your tank immediately, and all those wages you just earned today down the drain before you're even home. And then you know a few days is going to go directly into your groceries. A ton of days are going to go directly to your rent. Some days go directly to your utilities. So many people are living paycheck to paycheck, and that's normalized now. People say, welcome to adulthood. That's not what adulthood is. But the craziest thing is so many people coming after the people that are struggling. Empathy for one another is free. This is such a common issue now. Like, it's not like people aren't working hard. People are working their butts off to just survive.
I saw a video of a guy doing a grocery haul from 2012, and he was showing how he got several items, like a bunch of fruits, a bunch of vegetables for $12. And he had gotten multiple avocados. Now, if you know, avocados right now, multiple of them would be a down payment. And it's really sad because basically, whether you eat out or you eat at home, prices are kind of the same. There's be a big difference. Like, going out to eat used to be a big upcharge compared to eating at home. And now they're like neck and neck. Whether you eat at home or you go out to eat, you're probably paying the same thing. And the thing is, most restaurants are also using Cisco, so you're eating the same kind of food no matter where you go to. But then when you think about how they have less regulations on food, you're buying crap at the grocery store too. So either way, you're eating crap. All I know is something gotta give, because everything is like the same price. Whether you do eating out, eating at home, everything's costly. And it's funny because older folk used to say stuff like, oh, stop drinking coffee outside and don't eat avocado toast so you can have a down payment. Now that houses are going for $500,000, even in the southern states, that wouldn't give you shit.
And they really sat up on the news and said, work a job you don't like making $21 an hour. Oh, and these teenagers are lazy. Are we talking about the same group of teenagers? Because I've seen 17, 18, 19-year-olds hustle harder than 40-year-olds. You get what I'm saying? Furthermore, they can't get jobs because we're working the jobs that's meant for them. But you want to know why some of us are working the jobs that are actually meant for fucking teenagers? Because a lot of us can't get fucking jobs in our career fields with multiple degrees up under our belts. So we're stuck taking entry-level jobs that don't pay us shit. But we have bills to pay, so we're stuck taking it, which leaves them ass out. Do y'all see how that's set up? Y'all don't. Because they're fucking lazy. Everybody's fucking lazy, apparently. I don't fucking get it. I don't get it. And instead of sitting behind the desk, keying, help fix the fucking problem, bitch.
For a long time, the idea of a normal successful life seems pretty straightforward. You work hard, get a stable job, save money, maybe buy a house, and eventually reach a point where life feels comfortable. That was the formula a lot of people grew up hearing, and it became the standard that many people measured themselves against. But now, a lot of people feel like that formula doesn't match the reality they're experiencing. The frustration isn't because everyone expects to live in a mansion or have unlimited money. Most people are asking for much simpler things. They want a place they can afford to live, enough money to handle emergencies, and the ability to enjoy life without constantly worrying about the next expense. The problem is that many of these things that used to represent basic stability now feel much harder to reach. For younger people especially, there's this feeling that the starting point has moved further and further away before they even had a chance to begin. Things like buying a home, building savings, or supporting a family are often talked about like they're obvious milestones, but many people now see them as goals that require perfect timing and a lot of luck. And that creates a strange feeling of falling behind, even when someone is genuinely trying their best. Someone can go to school, work, avoid wasting money, and still feel like they're nowhere near where they thought they would be. That's what makes this issue so frustrating. It's not that people don't want responsibility or don't want to put in effort, it's that the definition of what counts as a comfortable life seems to have changed without anyone really acknowledging it. A lot of people aren't chasing luxury, they're chasing the version of normal life they were told would be possible. And when that version starts feeling unrealistic, it creates a feeling that the entire path forward has become uncertain. That's why so many people are questioning the future, because the biggest fear isn't just struggling today, it's wondering if the things they're working towards will even be achievable tomorrow.
Being poor is honestly so expensive, and it almost feels like once you're in poverty, it's something that is impossible to get out of. It's something that takes a toll on your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual and emotional well-being. And I feel like it's something that we don't really talk about enough. I feel like it's a big part of the reason why people are struggling with bad mental health, because a lot of Americans nowadays don't have financial security anymore. And in our society, we literally make poor people out to be the problem. If they're not able to pay their bills, even if they're doing everything right, people like to go after them and tell them everything that they're doing wrong when they're not even doing anything wrong necessarily. We're up against a broken system, and it wasn't designed for any of us to win. And after a while, when you're working your life away and you're not guaranteed life necessities and you don't see a way out of it, it causes people to lose their minds. It causes people to not want to be here anymore, because it feels like they're in this cycle that they can't really get out of. It's like they want to get out of it, but it's just like, they don't really know how, and they don't have like the tools or the resources that they need to get out of the situation that's causing them harm. A lot of people feel trapped running on this hamster wheel that just keeps moving faster and faster and faster. When they're working for less and less money, people are having to overdraft bank accounts to get by. People are taking out loans. People are maxing out credit cards. And when everybody makes you out to be the issue, it's actually so soul-crushing.
I'm really starting to develop an unhealthy distrust of medical professionals at this stage in my life. I feel as if recently, within the past 6 months, I have at worst case been lied to by medical professionals, and in the most favorable, fair light to them, information has definitely been omitted to me. I've been lied to, or I guess not told the full facts about my GLP-1 coverage due to my obesity and comorbid conditions. The full facts, that was for my primary care. The next instance I've been lied to or omitted from was when I signed up for Invisalign. I need to correct my bite due to my TMJ issues, and they didn't go over the pros and cons of Invisalign, what my other options were for like traditional braces, not just Invisalign. They didn't advise me, I won't get into my Invisalign, but I've just been having a really bad experience with doctors not being truthful or forthcoming with me. And it's really frustrating because I don't fucking know what questions to ask the doctor. I'm assuming that because, they're my doctor, all of this goes to the fact that, unfortunately, in the medical professional, I'm seeing in real time an increase of being treated like a customer instead of a patient. And a lot of people like to talk shit about attorneys, being liars and don't trust an attorney. Do not trust your doctor, honestly. If it involves you paying out of pocket for anything, do not trust your doctor. If there is a high copay or something, do not trust your doctor. And that is sad. And another example as to why we're in late stage capitalism and why we need to socialize healthcare. Because I should not be a bottom line number in my healthcare.
One of the strangest feelings people are experiencing right now is making money but still feeling like they have nothing to show for it. For a lot of workers, payday used to represent progress. It meant you can cover your expenses, put some money aside, and maybe even have a little bit left over to enjoy yourself. But now, many people describe their paycheck as something that arrives and disappears almost instantly. The money comes in, and before they even have time to feel relieved, it's already assigned to rent, groceries, gas, insurance, subscriptions, and other basic costs. The stressful part is that these aren't usually unnecessary purchases. These are normal parts of life. People aren't spending everything on luxury items and wondering why they're broke. A lot of people are simply trying to maintain the basics and realizing those basics are taking up more and more of their income. That creates a frustrating situation when someone can be working full-time and still feel financially stuck. They're putting in hours, showing up, and doing what they're supposed to do, but their financial situation barely changes. And when there's no room left after bills, even small problems become stressful. A random expense, a repair, or an unexpected situation can completely throw off someone's plans, because there really isn't much flexibility. That's why paycheck to paycheck living is more than just numbers. It affects how people think about the future. It becomes harder to plan ahead when you're constantly focused on making it through the next few weeks. People feel like they're running in a race where the finish line keeps moving further and further away. The most frustrating part is that many people aren't looking for an easy way out. They don't expect everything to be handed to them. They just want their work to create some actual progress instead of feeling like every paycheck is only keeping them in the same place. And when millions of people share that same experience, it becomes a much bigger conversation about whether working hard is still leading to the stability people expected.
We are being pushed to a level of exhaustion that is not normal. A level of burnout that has millions of people questioning whether this is really what life was supposed to be. We follow the laws and pay our taxes while seeming to struggle even more. Our lives feel like a prison sentence with no release date. We've become a society that celebrates making it through the week. And we count down the days until the weekend, then spend it recovering. Many of us choose between a balanced meal and an endless list of overinflated bills. We neglect our health because our life allows no breaks. And we spend more time paying for our lives than actually living them. We are being pushed to a level of exhaustion that is not normal.
I made a video about the economy that pissed a lot of people off, but one thing that really stood out that someone said is a grocery store worker should be able to afford to live. You know, they should be able to have enough money to afford their own apartment, to afford the food they need to eat, to afford all these things. Because when you think about it, grocery store workers, they are a necessity for the economy to keep going smoothly. You need people in the store that are watching to stop people from stealing everything you have. You need people in the store to stock the shelves, and I know it's like, oh, put the fries in the bag, but in all honesty, you need those people. Okay, you need people working at McDonald's to take your order. You need people to put all your food in the bag, to get it wrapped up real nice, to cook your food. All these people are essential to the economy. They are essential to everyone. Like, they are more useful than, I would say, doctors and shit. They're making the world go round. Without all of these people, we'd be fucked. If you didn't have someone to take your order and make you food when you went to McDonald's, what the fuck, that would be really inconvenient, right? So it really does suck that they don't get paid a little bit more. You don't get paid like any type of living wage, because your job is important. It really is, but they make you feel like you're useless because they pay you next to nothing, but you're not useless. And it just sucks the way the system is set up. It literally is set up to make you feel useless, to keep you down. That is fact.
Work hard now, struggle now, sacrifice now, so that later you can earn the ability to enjoy your life. That's basically the deal that people keep describing. And the thing is, nobody's talking about luxury. Like, we're just talking about feeling stable, maybe being able to buy yourself something small without feeling guilty about it, and feeling like your life is actually happening while you're living it, because nobody's really able to say when that later is. And it seems like it just keeps getting pushed back further and further. And I'm not saying that life is never going to be difficult or that sacrifices are never going to have to be made. I just think that it's strange how people act like stability and enjoying your life a little bit are these huge rewards.
One of the most frustrating parts of today's economy is that even getting started feels harder than it used to. There's a common idea that if someone wants to work, they can simply walk in, apply somewhere, and eventually find an opportunity. But many teenagers and young adults are realizing that that process is not always that simple anymore. A lot of people are applying for entry-level jobs and struggling to even get a response. And what makes that frustrating is that these are supposed to be jobs where people gain their first experience. The problem is that many employers now expect applicants to already have experience, even for positions that are supposed to teach basic skills. That creates a cycle where someone needs experience to get hired, but they need to get hired first in order to gain that experience. For teenagers especially, this can feel discouraging because they're often told they need to start building their future early. But when their first opportunity is difficult to find, It can feel like the door is closed before they even get a chance to prove themselves. At the same time, this isn't simply about blaming another generation or saying one group caused the problem. A lot of older workers are staying in the jobs longer because they're dealing with their own financial pressures. People across different ages are trying to survive in the same environment, which makes competition much harder. The bigger issue is that the starting point has changed. The first job, the first paycheck, and the first step towards independence are becoming more complicated than many people expected. And when young people are constantly told they aren't trying hard enough, it can be frustrating when many of them are actually trying to enter a system that's become more competitive. The desire to work is still there, the ambition is still there, but having motivation doesn't always guarantee an opportunity when the path to getting started has become more difficult.
Everybody not going to agree with what I'm about to say, and that's okay. But people are waking up. And when I say waking up, I mean folks are realizing they were never meant to survive off crumbs while giving these jobs all their time, all their energy, and all their peace. People are tired of working 40, 50, 60 hours a week just to struggle, still behind on bills, still stressed, still depressed, and still feeling like they can't breathe, okay? And some of y'all gonna say, people just don't want to work no more. No, people don't want to be underworked, underpaid, overworked, disrespected, and treated like they're disposable anymore, okay? That's the difference. This system has been designed a certain way for a long time, and some people gotta work 10 times harder just to make one opportunity. Meanwhile, other people slide right through the cracks, and that's probably because they know somebody that knows somebody, right? And back then, a lot of stuff was normalized, and a lot of unfairness was accepted. But now, people are learning, people are healing, and people are thinking bigger. Folks are starting businesses, learning new skills, making content, and selling products, and building brands, and creating generational wealth from their phones. Yeah. And a lot of people mentally can't survive certain work environments no more, y'all. So if you know, you know. So if you got loyal employees right now, you need to appreciate them, because people are not settling like they used to. People want peace, people want freedom, and people want ownership, and people want to actually live, not just to survive, okay? And honestly, that shift already started, baby. Yeah, we waking up because we up next.
The job market is horrible. I keep seeing videos about it, and I'm just here to validate everybody more than they already been validated. It is horrible. Since March, when I last started working a full-time permanent job, I've had 2 interviews. One interview, I was so ready for this interview. I'm like, I'm about to ace this. I'm getting the interview, and it's a panel interview. I'm thinking it's only about to be 2 people, and it's like 6 people. So I was nervous. I was not prepared for that. So my whole it was bad. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. It was bad. So I knew I was not getting that job. The other interview, I aced that interview, y'all. I did so good. In this interview wasn't an ounce of nervousness. Y'all, at the end of the interview, she like, okay, we got 3 more weeks of interviews, and we gonna call people back and let them know if they going to the second round. So I'm like, that's already look crazy, because I'm waiting 3 weeks to see if I'm going to the second round, not even if I'm getting the job or not. So I'm just like, okay, whatever, because I really want the job. So about a month go by, I'm like, I know I aced this interview, so I know I should be getting the second one. So I reach out or whatever, and they like, oh, we're sorry, like the position is on hold right now. So I'm okay, cool, whatever, yada yada yada. Next day, I get an email. Unfortunately, I thought the position was on hold, and then it's like people be acting like you're not trying hard enough. It's not about trying hard enough. It's just about what's really available and what's actually real. People are posting fake jobs. You apply to a job, it'll say resume has been reviewed. Next day, job interview reposted. You ain't get called for an interview or nothing. Or you will get called for an interview, and then the next day the job be reposted. So it's like, what's really going on? Honestly, you just got to keep applying. Like, that's it. And then you still never know what's going to happen. It's people that have applied to 1,000 jobs still have not gotten the interview. So I don't know what's going on with these companies and these organizations, but people out here really need jobs. I'm working a temp job right now. I'm grateful to God for it, but it ends at the end of the month. So I know something's gonna happen for me though. Like, I'm not tripping about it. Like, a temp job better than no job. I'm trying to tell you, I wasn't making as much money I was making before, but I'm making something. Okay. So everybody that's trying to find a job right now, you just gotta hold on. Now I know that's easier said than done for sure.
One of the most overlooked problems of money today is that struggling financially can actually make life more expensive. It sounds backwards, but having less money often means you have fewer choices, and fewer choices often comes at higher costs. People with more financial freedom can pay for convenience, prepare for emergencies, and make decisions based on what's best long term. But when someone is already stretched thin, every decision becomes about getting through the immediate situation. A cheaper option might save money today, but create more problems later. A small inconvenience can become a major obstacle because there isn't enough room to absorb mistakes. That's why being broke isn't just about having a smaller bank account, it affects how much time, energy, and flexibility someone has. Someone with savings can handle an unexpected expense without their entire month falling apart. Someone without that cushion might have to delay other important payments or completely change their plans. That constant pressure can make people feel like they're always one step away from falling behind. And what makes it frustrating is that many people assume financial struggles are simply caused by bad decisions. But sometimes the reality is that people are making the best decisions they can with limited options. It's much easier to plan ahead when you aren't constantly focused on the next immediate problem. This creates a cycle where people who need the most room to recover often have the least room available. Money doesn't just buy things, it buys flexibility, time, and the ability to handle problems without everything collapsing. And that's why so many people feel trapped financially, because the challenge isn't only earning more, it's escaping a situation where every setback becomes harder to overcome. The frustrating reality is that financial stability isn't just about working harder anymore. Sometimes it's about having enough breathing room for hard work to actually make a difference.
Am I the only person like tired of the daily grind? I mean, we wake up, we sit in traffic, we try to buy nice things to at least make ourselves feel a little bit better, but you know, we just working to pay for it. This is crazy, bro. Like, I remember when we were young, you know, when everybody was kids, you thought like when you became an adult, like you would just do anything and everything you wanted to do. You didn't think that you would just be in a matrix. This is a matrix, bro. Like, this is insane. This is literal insanity. And then we're doing all of this, acting like it's normal. And the reason why this is bothering me is because I went to Europe. I went to the Netherlands. And I actually got a chance to see people living their life. And it's not this American hustle culture that we've been indoctrinated to believe is correct and right. This is not right. This is not life. This is not okay. This is terrible. You know, like, when I went to Switzerland, people were like living their life. I went to Italy, people were living their life. They're like chilling around, functioning and happy with their friends that they grew up with. In America, like, good luck. Like, if you had a friend as a teenager or when you were young, you know, you probably don't even know each other anymore because everybody's been worked to death. You know what I mean? Like, always going to work, always like hustling, trying to make $1. And this is insane. This is literal insanity, bro. You don't even have time. Like, we making money, but we don't even have time to relax and really enjoy ourselves. Like, in America, it's like you do all of this for what, like 2 weeks vacation at that. I'm not talking about my job. Like, I like what I do. I'm just talking about in general, like America. This is freaking crazy. You literally don't have time to do anything. Like, and then like when you off of work, all you do is sleep. That's all you do. This is literal insanity, bro. And then we're doing the same thing over and over again and paying bills. And it's like we're like, all we are bill payers in America. Nobody has time. You try to reach out to friends, they're all like busy. You know what I mean? Like, they're working double shifts. This is crazy, bro. People are now getting roommates. Like, and this is supposed to be normal. And all these like super wealthy elite people, and don't get me wrong, like, you know, if you got rich, you did what you need to do to get rich. It's just what it is. I'm not a hater of the rich. But you get like, you know, a few people that just control everything. And we're all like controlled to the point to where we think this is just normal. And we can just keep doing this over and over again until we're like 50-something, 60-something. Then you get to that age, and then people realizing they still have to work. Some investments crash, and it's just like, bro, you're not supposed to, and I learned this from going to Europe, you're not supposed to work until you're old. You're supposed to live your life. I gotta get out of America, bro. America is insane. This is literal insanity at its core. Then it's like you don't even have time to make food. You like stopping and going to eat fast food at different places, stuck in traffic. Like, this is, Lord, I paid my car note off, right? I paid it like years early. I hustled and paid this thing off. But it's like, you know, mad people got like car notes, and like people got like mortgages. Your mortgage goes up in America. This is crazy. Like, bro, like I thought when you bought a house in America, that's just what it is. No, bro. Like they do reappraisal property increases. So your mortgage goes up. They give you property tax increases. So they give you a property tax and a reappraisal like increase. Right? Because all the property is just worth more. So it's like, what's the point of a mortgage? Like, yeah, you get a little bit of something if you sell it. You know what I mean? But it's just like, bro, y'all like not only are they raising rent, they're raising mortgages here. Like, they have convinced us in this world that we live in this big marble that we live in, that we have to give them money to exist. This is crazy, bro. I even see people like on TikTok now, right? And what they do is they go live just to hang out with each other with the little bit of time that they have, the spare time that they have. They may go live and talk to each other and stuff like that, right? And they're like in the boxes talking to each other on TikTok because they don't have time to like really go to different cities and spend time with their friends. Man, this country is wicked, bro. Like I do not believe and the picket fence and all this crazy stuff that they try to get you to believe in America. Like, this is insane. Like, now I see why all of these people in America, not all, but tons of people are on like antidepressants just to function. Like, y'all Europeans and Asian people want to come here. I don't know why y'all want to be here. I'm just being real. This place, unless you just want to hustle all of your life, that's all you're going to be doing. America is a fucking scam, bro. This is a scam.
One of the biggest reasons people are frustrated right now is because the entire deal between customers and companies has changed. People understand that prices go up over time. That's nothing new. But what bothers many people is the feeling that they're paying significantly more while getting a worse experience in return. You can see this frustration in everyday things that people interact with constantly. Groceries cost more, portions seem smaller, services feel rushed, and things that used to feel reliable now feel like they're becoming more complicated. The issue isn't just a number on the price tag, it's the feeling that people are sacrificing more for less. That creates a different type of frustration because it starts affecting people's trust. When someone spends more money on something, they naturally expect better quality, better service, or at least the same experience they used to receive. But when the opposite happens, people start wondering where all that extra money is actually going. This is especially noticeable in areas people can't avoid, like healthcare. Nobody wants to feel like they're just another transaction when they need help. People want to feel listened to and cared for, not like they're just another customer moving through the system. And that feeling extends beyond healthcare. It shows up when people deal with companies, subscriptions, products, and services that seem designed around maximizing profit rather than improving the experience. The result is that everyday life starts feeling less personal. People aren't only asking, why is this more expensive? They're asking, why does it feel like I'm getting less value at the same time? That question is why frustration has become so widespread. Because when enough parts of daily life start feeling like worse deals, people begin to feel like they're constantly losing ground, even when they're still participating in the system.
The vast majority of Americans, nearly 95% of individuals, believe that the US is suffering from an affordability crisis. These are the recent numbers that have come out from a Harris poll conducted by The Guardian that is trying to capture American sentiment about how they feel about the economy. Now, according to the survey, more Americans, nearly 57%, believe that the overall economy is getting worse compared to those numbers in February, where about 46% of Americans believe that the economy is getting worse. In juxtaposition, fewer Americans also believe that the economy is getting better. And this is true across political parties, where across all three political parties, there is rising consumer pessimism about the status of the economy, mostly centered around affordability. A lot of the reason for this, which is something we've talked about on this page several times, is that people feel like their purchasing power is decreasing, right? People are expressing frustration that they are not able to afford some of the necessities that they would otherwise, including food and gasoline. A lot of this has to do with some of the policies that have been recently implemented, including the implementation of tariffs, despite the Supreme Court declaring that the IEEPA tariffs were unconstitutional, as well as the closure of the Strait of Hormuz that has persisted since February, which has increased the price of gasoline, as well as some other imports, including things like fertilizer. And we see this in the economics numbers very clearly, right? We can see the purchasing power of Americans declining over the last several months. If we look at things like inflation, right? If we compare the rate of inflation, both the CPI released by the BLS and the PCE, the personal consumption expenditures released by the Bureau of Economic Analysis, we can see those rates of inflation increasing much faster compared to the growth in wages, to the point where those two lines, right, have now crossed. So the rate of inflation, right, the rate of the cost of goods is increasing faster than wages are able to keep up, which means, right, your wages are not able to go as far. When the cost of your groceries is increasing faster than your wages, you do not have as much disposable income to afford on other things, which is why when we see this increasing rate of inflation, the groups of people who are most affected by this, right, are people on fixed incomes, right? So older people on programs like Social Security, as well as poorer people who don't have as much disposable loose income to spend on things additionally other than basic necessities. That's a real serious issue, and why I think a lot of people feel like they are existing in two separate economies, whereas a group of people who are very much struggling to afford the basics, and then another economy, right, when you go on these social media apps and you see people being able to still make these big purchases, it's affecting people differently. Interestingly, another measure of consumer sentiment, which is the poll done by the University of Michigan, found at the end of June that consumer sentiment had ticked up slightly from a 50-year low. So consumer sentiment, according to this poll, is about 49%. However, I think what's important to keep in mind is how consumers are feeling about the economy in a lot of ways is tied to the current gasoline prices, right? So during that time, there was talk of a ceasefire and a lot of real movement towards a ceasefire. Gas prices were starting to come down. But now we are seeing the ceasefire kind of fall apart and gas prices slowly starting to rise. So I think it's really important for us to keep in mind exactly the timing of when these surveys were done. But it generally seems like Americans are still incredibly frustrated about the state of the economy. Again, I think the goal of the Federal Reserve and other people is trying to keep inflation down, but ultimately we're kind of working against a current here. Between tariffs as well as the supply shock in oil, it's very hard to keep inflation under control unless you're going to massively raise interest rates. So we will just have to see what happens. And for now, that's all I got. As always, if you have any questions, let me know.
For years, people were given a pretty simple formula for building a successful life. Work hard, make smart decisions, get an education, and eventually things will fall into place. And the reason that advice became so common is because for many people it actually did work. But a lot of younger people today are questioning whether the same formula still guarantees the same results. The problem isn't that hard work suddenly stopped mattering. Hard work is still important, obviously. The frustration comes from seeing people who followed the advice they were given and still struggled to reach milestones they expected. Someone can go to school, earn a degree, find a job, and still be dealing with massive expenses before they even feel financially dependent. Someone can be responsible with money and still watch housing, healthcare, and everyday costs become harder to manage. That creates a disconnect between what people are promised and what they're expecting. When someone is told that effort leads to stability, they naturally expect that putting in more effort will move them closer to that stability. But when the results don't match the work, people start questioning the path itself. That's why so many younger people are pushing against older advice. It's not always because they don't want to work, it's because they're looking at the environment around them and noticing that the challenges are different. The cost of education has changed, the cost of housing has changed, the job market has changed, the amount of competition has changed, so naturally the strategies people use to succeed have to change too. The biggest mistake is assuming that someone struggling today must simply not be trying hard enough. Sometimes the reality is that they're trying to win a situation that has completely different rules than before. And understanding that difference matters because the solution isn't telling people to work harder. The solution is recognizing what has changed and figuring out how people can realistically build a future in this new environment.
On my shrinkflation video, I wanted to make another video just further discussing about how the cost of living, especially when it comes to consumer products, has increased exponentially. And so in order to do that, what I did is I went through my email address, an old email address, and I pulled up some receipts for online ordering that I did between 2019 and 2020. And just to, make sure that I wasn't biased for a certain kind of consumer good, I have a Sephora order, I have an Instacart order, and I have a Fashion Nova order. And I want to show you how much I paid, how many items I got when I purchased it, and what the equivalent would be now. So let's start off with Sephora, because that's on top. We have my Sephora order right here. And I ordered this in 2019. I got 13 items and like a perfume sampler. I got a bunch of Ordinary. I got a Fenty Beauty Matchstick Trio, some lipstick. I got an Urban Decay palette, a full palette, mascara, and then 2 additional travel fragrances. I got 13 items and I paid $245 for them. Now in 2026, I went on the Sephora website today and I was like, what can I get for $250? I got 9 items. Was not including the full palette and did not include the Matchstick Trio, which is a concealer, a highlight, and a contour. So the 2 most expensive items I didn't even include. 9 items for $250. That's when I hit the limit. So that's Sephora. Now I want to show you guys Fashion Nova. This is a Fashion Nova order. I love Fashion Nova, I don't care. From 2020. I got 19 items for $190. And this is not all earrings. These are dresses, cardigans, multiple dresses, at least like 7 or 8 dresses, jeans, skirts, bodysuits, and a blazer. 19 items for $190. And that includes shipping and tax. I went on the Fashion Nova website today again to see what could I get for $190 in 2026. I got 7 items and it was $209. That is not including shipping. That is not including taxes. This is an Instacart order. I got 9 items for $55. And that $55 includes a $9 tip and the delivery fees. And included in those 9 items, just so folks realize, I got a bottle of wine, I got some pre-made food, and I got shrimp, coconut shrimp. And I gave a $9.10 tip, and that came out to $55. What does that look like in 2026? I went on Instacart, see what I could get for $55. So without the tip, without the tax, without the tip, I hit $51 at 5 items. And I did include in that the wine again and the shrimp because those were like the most expensive. We are dealing with historic levels of income inequality. It has gotten so much more expensive to live life. Wages have not increased at all. We are dealing with enormous amounts of corporate greed. We are dealing with, I didn't even factor, the next one I think I'm going to do is on housing because that's a whole other thing. But I say all this to say, right? You're not going crazy. You are not going crazy. It costs a lot more and we're getting a lot less.
One of the hardest parts about struggling financially today is that people are constantly surrounded by images of everyone else appearing successful. Every day people see expensive cars, vacations, new clothes, restaurants, and lifestyles that make it feel like everyone else is moving ahead. But what people usually don't see is what's happening behind the scenes. They don't see the debt, the stress, the financial sacrifices, or the pressure someone might be dealing with just to maintain that image. Social media has made it easier than ever to compare your real life to someone else's highlight reel. And that comparison can make people feel like they're behind even when they're doing everything they can. The strange thing is that many people aren't actually trying to become wealthy. They're trying to avoid feeling like they're the only one struggling. That creates pressure to spend money on things that make them feel included or successful, even when they might not be in the best financial position. A person might buy something they don't truly need because everyone around them seems to have it. A person might feel embarrassed about not being able to afford certain experiences because it feels like everyone else can. Over time, this creates a cycle where people feel pressure to look financially comfortable instead of actually being financially comfortable. And the internet makes this even harder because success is constantly displayed while struggle is usually hidden. Nobody posts the boring parts of life where they're budgeting, worrying about bills, or trying to recover from a difficult month. They only show the moments that look impressive. That's why so many people feel confused about their own situation. They look around and wonder why everyone else seems to be doing fine while they're struggling. But the reality is that many people are dealing with the same problems quietly. The pressure isn't only coming from the economy itself, it's also coming from a culture where people feel like they have to prove they're doing well, even when they're privately trying to gonna do everything to keep it together. And when looking successful becomes almost as important as actually being successful, it creates even more stress for people who are already feeling financially pressured.
Can I be honest with you? I'm tired. Can I just be very real with you? I'm gonna be very real with you, okay? You might be like, ew. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm tired. I'm tired of everything I thought that was good in this country growing up not being what it actually is. I'm tired of everything not being what it was told to me to be. I'm tired of the fact that I served in the military, okay? I went overseas, I protected the poppy fields in Afghanistan, and guess what? That's all I was really there for. I wasn't there for any type of real patriotic anything. I was there to subjugate a Middle Eastern country, probably on the behest of another Middle Eastern country that starts with the letter I. I'm tired of finding out everything about my food has been a lie to me. I'm tired of figuring out everything about our government has been a lie. I'm tired of figuring out that sports, something that I love at the professional level, is just a giant circus. They just want you to bet. They just want you to drink. They just want you to spend money. I'm tired of every single moment of my life being treated like it's just like I'm a walking pay stub for them. Every moment I'm being marketed to. Every moment my data is being utilized so that ads can be more perfect to give a higher likelihood that maybe I will purchase now or in the future. I hate that everything's becoming a subscription. I hate that the tech bros are slowly winning and turning this into a tech surveillance state. I'm tired that everything politically is so divided that no one can even talk about it without getting angry. I'm tired that we can't make any progress. I'm tired that we can't get on the same page. I'm tired that we've seen everything happen since the Epstein list. We have plenty of reason to do something about this as a people, and nothing has happened, myself included. I'm tired of not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, guys. I'm tired of not being able to come on here and tell you, look, housing prices are going to come down to X because of Y. Hey, they created this new affordable product here to help people to be able to travel, and they're going to take care of this, that, and the third. Or, hey, they actually fixed wages. You're going to be able to work hard and make good money and make a lifestyle for you here in America. It's only going to take 3 years. Here's the plan. Like, I wish they had that. I wish there was legislation that was coming out about term limits, age limits, insider trading, getting corporate and federal, or corporate and country... corporate and foreign lobbying out of our Congress. I wish to God I could get on here and tell you that they destabilized the carried interest loophole, that 20 and 2 is gone for private equity. I wish I could tell you that they reinstated Glass-Steagall, that they got rid of this 2004 margin rule change, that Citizens United's been overturned. I wish I could tell you these things. And we know that they need to be done. We know that the greedflation, because of unfettered corporate spend and greed since COVID, led us to a world where this K-shaped economy feels like the bottom shape of the K is dying financially. And the top side of the top 10% of the economy that's doing good since COVID, I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people, by the way. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a Nepo baby. I earned it, but like, I'm one of those people. I can still see those people struggling though. I'm still trying to do what I can to help that person. I don't do enough. I can do more. I can volunteer more at like a food bank. I could get more involved in my local community, local politics, local boards. I could do more. We could all do more to help our fellow man. But why is it we're watching our fellow man have the rug pulled out from under them? We're yelling that the rug has been pulled out from under them, and everyone's like, why are you being so political? I just want people to be able to survive, eat food, and have a shelter. I don't want people to go bankrupt because of a hospital bill. I don't want someone to have to work 3 jobs to get by. I don't want a single mom to think it's impossible. I don't want 12% of under 30-year-olds to not be married or have a kid. I don't want everyone to just rent something and be happy. That's not fun. Having a garden's fun. Being able to play with your kids in the backyard is fun. Painting your house pink if you want is fun. Okay? I want us to be able to have fun in our life. I want us to be able to live this life and enjoy this life and love the people around us and bring up real community and have real friends and have real connections and not be socially distanced and not be just kept behind these screens all the time. I want to connect. I know you want that maybe too. I want my family and my daughter to walk into a labor market that isn't controlled by robots and AI running around everywhere. They're shooting lasers. Like, I don't want this future lily paths toward economic totalitarianism that we are on. We are on a path where they will continue to divide us between blue and red until they have all the green. That's the path we're on. I'm tired of finding out everything connects back to Israel. I'm tired of finding out that we're not ever going to get anything more on the Epstein files. I'm tired of learning that they know exactly what's going on in our economy and they fail to do anything about it. I hate the fact that the next time our economy wobbles, they're just going to bail out banks and print money. I hate it. I hate it all the way down to the founding of the country. There's so much that is corrupt and it just institutionally bad. And we're seeing it now in real time, maybe because of social media and the internet. Maybe just because of social media and the internet, because since the central banking epidemic that happened from 1907 to 1913 that led into the Great New Deal, the Bretton Woods Agreement, the Nixon shock, and then getting into, you have the Powell Memo and the Fair Credit Act Union in around that time, and then you have Reaganomics, and then you have NAFTA, and then you have Glass-Steagall, all the way up to the 2008 housing crash, Citizens United, like walking through all of it. It's like, wow, we've really been on this path of totalitarianism for some time. And now it's like we're realizing it. Now it's like we're finally seeing it come to light. We want to stop it. We don't know how. I'm not saying I have the solution, but man, I get tired of watching day by day people get just a fire under their butt for we need to make change, only to see that change not come to fruition, only to see that group that they were a part of fall apart, only to see the energy dilapidate from what was originally something that was very strong. And I think there's a lot of energy right now that is sitting as stagnant energy in this country that could be turned into kinetic energy if we move together as one. If we started to grow together, if we started to come together with ideas, with movements, with ways that we can actually just connect at a human level and understand at a human level that we can do better for each other as humans. And I don't even know if I'm making sense right now. Let me pray for you. Dear Lord, thank you for this opportunity to have this piece of technology in front of us. I don't even understand how it works. I don't get Bluetooth. Lord, I pray for peace that surpasses all understanding upon everybody that hears my voice, whether or not they believe in you or not, believe in another God or not. I just pray that they can feel that peace in their body, the anxiety struck from them, the stress taken away from them. I thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to speak together today. I thank you for the love that you'll put into this person's life. I thank you for the transparency and justice you're going to bring for those that deserve it. I thank you, Lord, that you are protecting those that are belittled and marginalized by these evil, corrupt figures. And Lord, I pray you bring justice, hell, and brimstone down on the evil individuals that cover up, conspire, and corrupt our great country, Lord. Thank you for giving us this time on this earth, and let us use it responsibly in your name. Amen. My hair looks crazy. Don't do drugs.
A lot of people talk about being tired, but the deeper problem is that many people feel tired without feeling like they're actually moving forward. There's a huge difference between working hard towards something meaningful and constantly putting in effort just to stay in the same place. Most people understand that success requires sacrifice. They know that building a career, improving your skills, or reaching a goal takes discipline. The problem begins when the sacrifice starts feeling endless and the reward feels impossible to reach. Someone can spend years working, studying, and trying to improve the situation, but still feel like they're barely making progress. It creates a type of exhaustion that isn't only physical, it's mental. It comes from constantly asking yourself whether all the effort is actually leading somewhere. This is why so many people say that they don't hate working. They hate feeling like their time and energy are being used without creating a better future. People can handle difficult things when they believe there's a purpose behind them. Athletes train for years because they see improvement. Students study because they believe it will open opportunities. Workers put in extra hours because they believe it'll help them advance. But when people stop seeing that connection between effort and results, motivation starts disappearing. That's where a lot of frustration comes from today. It's not that people suddenly became less ambitious, it's that many people feel like ambition alone is no longer enough. They want a reason to believe their sacrifices are building towards something better. They want to feel like their time matters. They want to know that the work they're doing today is actually creating more options for tomorrow. And when that feeling disappears, burnout becomes much more common because people aren't just tired from working, they're tired from wondering if the work is actually making a difference at all.
I took $220,000 of student loans out for my undergraduate degree, and let me tell you that they're debilitating. And a lot of people did not prep me for how debilitating this was. And I'm not saying this for quite literally any sympathy. I don't give a fuck how you feel about it, because this is my problem and I'm going to take care of it because I made these choices. So I'm going to fucking demolish these loans. But I'm just telling you this advice as a girly who is paying off her student loans. Maybe, hopefully, I pray you can learn from my mistakes and not do this stupid shit at 18 that I did, because it sucks. It's very debilitating. Let's chat about how it has debilitated me. First off, I have paused my life for 4 years. For 4 years, I have not gone out, had fun, done anything, made purchases, haven't purchased my own clothing for a long time. Just so I can put every penny that I make to my student loans. And granted, I have paid off $50,000 of my federal student loans and about $50,000 of my husband's federal student loans, which is great. Like, it's so nice to be federally student debt free. But also, like, the mental toll that this shit takes on you, it is so isolating. Like, I know that some people are gonna say, well, I now feel isolated. That's great, I do. I feel very isolated by my loans because no one is in this much debt, like, compared to me, all my friend group. And I'm having to make these conscious big girl decisions that I didn't want to at 22, 23. I wanted to go have fun with my friends. I didn't want to have to think about, you know, the financial implications of buying a $200 purse because I can't afford that. Like, it's really shitty. And I know, well, poor baby couldn't get a purse. No, that's not what I'm here to say. I'm here to tell you that every single dollar that I attempt or think to spend, like, gives me anxiety. I am quite literally getting diagnosed with an OCD disorder for financial stress because of my student loans. And I don't care how that makes you feel. I'm just trying to warn the people that want to fucking listen. You don't have to take my advice. I couldn't give a shit. But I'm telling you, there are far longer lifestyle changes, mental health status changes that have come along with these student loans other than my minimum monthly payment of $1,600.
After hearing all these frustrations, it can be easy to assume that people are just complaining or that they just want everything to be easier. But that's not really what this conversation is about. Most people still want to work, they still want to build skills, create something meaningful, support themselves, and feel proud of what they accomplished. The frustration comes from feeling that the connection between effort and reward has become weaker. People are willing to put in the hours, but they want to believe that the hours are actually leading somewhere. They want a future where working hard doesn't only cover the basics, but actually creates opportunities. They want to be able to plan ahead without feeling like every unexpected problem can completely change their lives. They want to enjoy the present without feeling guilty that they should be doing something else more productive. And they want the idea of success to feel realistic again. Because at the end of the day, most people aren't asking for a perfect life. They're asking for a fair chance to build one. That's why this topic continues to spread across different age groups and backgrounds. The reason so many people connect with these conversations is because they recognize the same patterns around them. They see friends working more hours but having less free time. They see families adjusting to higher costs. They see younger people trying to enter a world that feels more competitive than they expected. And they see people making sacrifices while wondering when those sacrifices are supposed to pay off. The answer probably isn't one simple change or one perfect solution. The economy, workplaces, and expectations around success are all complicated issues that take time to improve. But the first step is recognizing that these frustrations exist for a reason. When millions of people are saying they feel exhausted, stuck, or uncertain about the future, it's worth paying attention to why. Because the goal was never for people to avoid hard work. The goal was for hard work to create a life worth working for. And that's the question more people are starting to ask. If people are giving so much of themselves to build a future, will that future actually give something back? And the question more people are starting to ask, if people are giving so much of themselves to build the future, will that future actually give something back? If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments what you guys thought about it. Like and subscribe. If you guys enjoy these longer kind of videos, let me know in the comments. I'll keep them up. But these do take a while to make, you know what I'm saying? But hope you guys all have a great day. Peace out.